In a world where beauty is often reduced to filters, trends, and the number of likes on a post, it's easy to forget that true beauty was never meant to be superficial. True beauty is deeply rooted in faith, character, and purpose, not just physical appearance. A woman who reflects God's love and grace radiates a beauty that cannot be manufactured, duplicated, or imitated. She carries something eternal, something unshakable, a light that draws others not because of how she looks, but because of who she is in Christ. This kind of beauty doesn't age or fade. It doesn't come from cosmetics, clothing brands, or social media validation. It flows from a heart that is fully aligned with God's heart. A woman who trusts God, walks in His truth, and lives out her purpose naturally carries a beauty that sets her apart. Her confidence doesn't come from worldly approval. It comes from knowing that she was fearfully and wonderfully made by a loving Creator. Her faith is the foundation of her beauty. When storms come, she doesn't fall apart. Instead, she stands firm because her hope is in the Lord. Her character is marked by integrity, compassion, humility, and strength. She shows up with kindness when others bring cruelty. She chooses forgiveness when the world teaches revenge. She seeks peace when chaos surrounds her. That is the beauty of a woman shaped by God's hand. Purpose gives her life direction and depth. She knows she was not made to blend in. She was created to shine. Her gifts, voice, and presence are not accidental. She understands that her calling, no matter how big or small, is sacred. Whether she's leading a business, raising a family, mentoring young women, serving at her church, or simply showing up for others, she does it all with grace, love, and intention. Her purpose is not just about what she does, it's about asterisk. If you're tempted to compare yourself to the world's definition of beauty, remember this: beauty that comes from the heart of God will never go out of style. It cannot be bought, stolen, or faked. And if you are a woman who walks in faith, holds tight to your values, and lives with divine purpose, you are already radiating a beauty that reflects the very image of your Creator. That is the kind of beauty the world needs more of. That is the beauty of God's gorgeous woman. Being God's gorgeous woman is about so much more than outward appearance. It is a reflection of inner strength, divine wisdom, unfailing kindness, and a quiet confidence that comes from knowing exactly who you are in Christ. In a society that pushes women to define their worth by looks, achievements, or approval from others, the woman of God stands apart. Her identity is not swayed by trends or opinions because she is anchored in something far more powerful: her relationship with the one who created her. Inner strength doesn't always look like boldness or loud declarations. Sometimes it's the courage to keep going when life feels heavy. It's the determination to get up after a fall, to forgive when it's easier to stay bitter, and to believe again when everything in her tells her to give up. God's gorgeous woman draws her strength from the Lord. She knows that even in her weakness, He is her strength. Her resilience is not rooted in pride, but in surrender. Because she knows who holds her future, she can face whatever lies ahead with peace. Wisdom flows from her not because she has all the answers, but because she listens to God. She seeks His will before her own and speaks with thoughtfulness and discernment. People come to her not just for advice, but for insight, because her words carry weight and grace. She lives by principles that are eternal, not fleeting. Her wisdom isn't always praised by the world, but it blesses everyone who encounters her. She is not reactionary. It disarms anger, softens pride, and builds bridges where walls once stood. And perhaps the most powerful quality of all is her quiet confidence. This is not arrogance, nor is it self-sufficiency. It is the peaceful assurance that she is who God says she is: chosen, beloved, forgiven, and empowered. She doesn't need to shout to be seen or compromise to be accepted. Her worth is settled. Because she knows her identity in Christ, she doesn't chase validation. She walks in purpose. She knows she is covered by grace, led by truth, and sustained by love. God's gorgeous woman shines not because she tries to be perfect, but because she allows herself to be transformed. She stands tall, not on her own accomplishments, but on the promises of God. Her beauty is timeless, Her spirit is powerful, and her presence is unforgettable. When she walks into a room, light follows, not because of her appearance, but because she carries the presence of the one who lives within her. These signs aren't about perfection. They are about a heart that seeks God, uplifts others, and walks boldly in her calling, no matter the season of life. Being God's gorgeous woman isn't about having it all together or living without flaws. It's about embracing the journey with grace, humility, and faith, understanding that God doesn't call the perfect. He perfects those he calls. A woman who belongs to God knows that her strength is not in never falling, but in rising again with her eyes fixed on him. Her heart is set on seeking God, not out of religious duty, but out of deep love and trust. She desires his presence more than public approval. Her decisions are shaped by prayer. She spends time in his word, not to check off a box, but because she knows that in his truth she finds direction and peace. Seeking God doesn't mean she else's success. She cheers it on. She lifts others up with her words, with her presence, and with her willingness to serve. Her kindness is not selective, and her support isn't conditional. She knows that in building others, she honors God. Whether she's mentoring a younger woman, helping a friend through a hard time, or simply offering a listening ear, she makes people feel loved and valued. Walking boldly in her calling is another sign of her divine beauty. She may not know every step ahead, but she trusts the one who leads her. Whether she's in a season of waiting, building, healing, or thriving, she doesn't let fear hold her back. She shows up with faith, using the gifts God has placed in her. Her calling might look different in each stage of life, but she stays faithful to it. She doesn't compare her path to others. She understands that God's plan for her is unique and meaningful. Even when things don't go as expected, she keeps moving forward, knowing that her purpose is not tied to perfection, but to obedience. This kind of woman doesn't need to be flawless. She just needs to be faithful. These signs reflect a life surrendered, a heart that beats in rhythm with heaven, and a spirit that continues to grow, even through struggles. She shines because she is grounded in something eternal. And as she seeks God, lifts others, and walks confidently in her purpose, she becomes a living reflection of divine beauty, God's gorgeous woman in every season. In conclusion, being God's gorgeous woman is not about outward beauty, perfection, or fitting into the world's definition of success. It is about a heart anchored in faith, a life shaped by character, and a spirit led by purpose. It is the quiet strength that endures, the wisdom that guides, the kindness that heals, and the confidence that comes from knowing who you are in Christ. These signs, seeking God, uplifting others, walking, continue to